Welcome back. The Free State Black Business Chambers has called for a relaxation of the minimum wage, which they say hampers job creation. They were responding to the latest Stats SA quarterly labour force survey. The survey reveals that unemployment is at an all-time high. Our Free State Business Chamber CEO, Lucky Motsamai, joins us now to tell us more. A very good afternoon to you, Lucky, and thank you so much for your time. So let's get straight to who unemployment in this country affects the most, who is feeling it the most. It's women and youth. And perhaps some would go further to say that it's black women and black youth. You know, how bad is the situation for them nationally?
Thank you very much, Morena, for having us. Morena, as you are saying, it's really disastrous, particularly for black youth and women. And when we look at it, at a situation in provinces such as the Free State, we think the situation is even far worse. You know, the national statistics say for unemployment in the youth category is around about 64.4%. Now, we would imagine that in the Free State, that would be around about 72%, because we find a lot of our young people in the townships, in the rural areas, unemployed with no prospects or even hope of getting employment.
South Africans would probably say, at least to the government, you wouldn't be having this problem of high unemployment, one of the highest rates in Africa, in the world, if you were not looting. You know, especially at a time of need for the country like COVID-19, or if you were just not looting in general, and also if you improved the education system. Would you agree?
I agree fully with you, Morena. And I think, you know, as the Free State Black Business Chamber was saying, that we must go look deeper into the issue of, you know, why are people looting? And your response, the response to that would be fundamentally what you're saying, education. The focus on education in South Africa is quite key. And the focus might be, you know, the application of education. You find a lot of graduates in the townships and in the rural areas who are unemployed graduates, you know, and you would ask yourself if the structural nature of unemployment in South Africa is because people are unemployed because they don't have skills in education, why is the level of unemployed graduates increasing, you know? And that pertains to the fact that the application and the fundamental uptake of skills within our economy has a problem. And in terms of looting, you would ask yourself, people would not loot if they had a sense of ownership of whatever brands, commodities, or whatever things they are buying and using on a day-to-day aspect. But people don't have a sense of ownership of those things. And then that detachment causes them to loot, and frustration just boils and implodes in something that we saw in the past couple of months, which was the unfortunate looting incidents. So that's really what we should actually focusing our attention on. Education, applicable education that our economy would really needs at this point in time.
A small business owner in the country, you know, with a great idea and just no funding, is probably sitting and saying, if government assisted me, you know, if small business departments assisted me, I would be able to create jobs. Now, your guys, one of your guys' solutions is job creation, and you know, some might say, invest in small businesses so they can create jobs, so that people don't have to run off to the big corporations to try and find jobs that perhaps are not even there. So would you say that maybe that is one solution? Support small businesses so that they can start creating more jobs?
100%, Morena. Support small businesses, particularly small businesses in the townships and in the rural areas. Why? Because when you look at what we now term the township economy, it's more an economy that's driven by consumerism, where you find black people with whatever consumable income they have, they go and spend that money out of that economy. But if there was, it was a production-based sort of economy, and where you know, products and brands were developed within the community and also purchased and consumed within the very same community, you'd see that trickle-down effect of jobs being created in our communities. So creation of jobs fundamental, but within the particular communities that is in dire or are in dire need of employment.
One of your suggestions is the relaxation of labor laws, such as the minimum wage. How do you see that helping, you know, job creation?
Fundamentally, it's one of the things that are hampering, small, medium enterprises to create jobs, because there's this red tape that's put that they need to abide by, and they cannot necessarily, afford to pay such overheads. But the bigger minimum wage makes more sense when you're talking about corporate South African corporate enterprises, incentivizing workers meaningfully. But when we look at it at the level of an SMME, it's really impractical, and it's actually a barrier towards SMMEs creating employment. So hence, as the Free State Black Business Chamber, we were calling for a more in-depth look into this issue of the minimum wage, and as to how it applies to small to medium enterprises, particularly black-owned, that do not have years and years of wealth creation within them, and they do not have years and years of credit potential to be able to raise money from different lenders, and are totally dependent on the consumers or the customers that support them, So that's what we are talking about.
Lucky, somebody is sitting here watching this conversation between you and me, somebody that got straight from high school into varsity, straight from varsity, found themselves a job doing what it is they studied for, and a good job at that. They've never struggled with unemployment in their life, and they're thinking, but one of these people in South Africa who are unemployed are always just waiting there to be spoon-fed by the government.
You are quite correct, and it's very unfortunate, Morena, that most of, especially young people who have been privileged enough to be in a position where they found jobs quite easily and quickly after graduating, have a very warped sense of reality in terms of what are the real tangible and vices of the economy in South Africa right now. And this comes or emanates from a situation where our young people are not really conscious of the environment that we're in as a country. South Africa has increasing poverty levels. South Africa has increasing inequality levels. And therefore, South Africa has increasing unemployment levels that would inadvertently also affect the very same people that are employed. If we look at the COVID-19 situation, Morane, you would agree with me that the game has changed. The economy has changed. The laws of the economy has changed. So there is no such a thing as job security anymore. When we speak of issues of 4IR, there is no such a thing as job security anymore. So young people should support the causes of those who are in dire need as well. So this is what we refer to as consciousness of the economy and what is driving the country right now, and patriotism as well. To be aware that although you might not be in a position where you are the one who's facing difficulty, but be patriotic enough to be able to assist where you can to those who are less fortunate than you are. So basically, that's what I would say and agree with you.
Well, Lucky, thank you so much for joining us here on Upfront on ENCA this afternoon. Greatly appreciated.